We live in a culture that glorifies productivity, that worships hustle, that measures worth by how much we can do and how little we can rest. Somewhere along the way, sleep got labeled as optional, as something we could sacrifice, bargain with, or push off until later. But let me be crystal clear. Sleep is not a luxury. It's a biological necessity. You can go weeks without food, days without water, but just a few nights without real sleep, and your mind begins to unravel, your body starts to malfunction, your emotions become unpredictable. Why? Because sleep isn't just a break. It's not time wasted, it's time invested into healing, into memory formation, into hormone balance, into immune strength, and even into heart function. While you sleep, your body isn't shutting down, it's recalibrating. Let's start with what actually happens during deep sleep. When you enter those restorative stages, your body begins to repair cells, muscles, and tissues. Your brain consolidates memories, files away what's important, and clears out metabolic waste through a system called the glymphatic system. Think of it like your brain's nighttime janitor. Your blood pressure naturally dips, giving your cardiovascular system time to recover. Your hormones, like growth hormone and melatonin, surge and recalibrate. This is not just helpful, it's essential for staying alive, alert, and well. And yet, despite all this, we treat sleep as negotiable. We stay up scrolling through blue lit screens. We binge shows to numb our anxiety. We drink coffee at 6 p.m. and wonder why we can't fall asleep. We keep pushing the line, not realizing the cost we're paying with every disrupted night. The World Health Organization now classifies shift work, especially night shifts, as a possible carcinogen. That's how deep the consequences go when you interrupt your body's natural rhythms. And the truth is, the damage doesn't happen all at once. That's why it's so dangerous. You don't wake up after one short night and feel like something's broken, but over time your body accumulates sleep debt, something it can't repay with just one weekend of sleeping in. Chronic sleep deprivation increases your risk of obesity, diabetes, depression, stroke, and Alzheimer's. It weakens your immune system and inflames your arteries. You may still be functioning, but you're functioning at a fraction of your potential. But let's move beyond the biological. Let's look at sleep through a psychological and philosophical lens, because I believe sleep is also a reflection of your relationship with yourself. Sleep requires surrender. It requires safety. To truly rest, your body has to believe that it's okay to let go. And if your mind is racing, if you're anxious, if you're carrying emotional burdens you haven't processed, then even when your eyes are closed, your body is still bracing for impact. It's preparing for a threat that may not exist. That's why improving sleep starts with more than a new mattress or a better pillow. It starts with asking what you're holding on to during the day that you can't release at night. And this matters because every major system in your body, your heart, your brain, your immune system, your metabolism, is counting on you to give it the time it needs to recover. You wouldn't run your car engine 24 hours a day and expect it to last. So why do we do that with ourselves? The problem is, many of us wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. We confuse burnout with dedication. We say things like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, forgetting that not sleeping is what gets us there faster. But here's the truth that I want you to carry. Sleep is not the opposite of productivity, it's the foundation of it. You are sharper, more creative, more compassionate, more emotionally regulated when you're well rested. Sleep doesn't steal time from your life, it gives life to your time. And I want to be honest, fixing sleep isn't always easy. Sometimes there are deeper imbalances, hormonal, neurological, or emotional, that need to be addressed. But you have more power than you think. You can create an environment that tells your body it's safe to rest. You can rewire your relationship with nighttime. You can choose habits that don't just push you toward rest, but invite it in. Because when you give yourself permission to rest deeply, you're not just investing in your physical health. You're choosing clarity over chaos, presence over pressure, healing over hustling. So the next time you think about staying up to finish one more task, respond to one more message, watch one more episode, ask yourself, is what I'm staying awake for more important than what my body is trying to do for me? while I sleep. Because in the end, your body will always fight for survival, but it's up to you to fight for restoration. And sleep is where that restoration begins. You now know that sleep is not a luxury, it's a biological necessity. But understanding its importance isn't always enough to secure it. Many people lie in bed every night, eyes closed, body still, but the mind wide awake. Thoughts racing, to-do lists repeating, emotions bubbling to the surface, and while they've turned off the lights, their brain is still lit up like a city at midnight. What's happening here? In most cases, it's not insomnia in the traditional sense. It's not about the inability to sleep, it's about the inability to let go. And more often than not, the culprit is stress. Stress isn't just an emotional experience, it's a physiological event. When you feel anxious, overwhelmed, or threatened, whether physically or emotionally, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. This hormone prepares you to fight or flee. Your heart rate goes up, your muscles tense, your blood pressure rises. And while that response may have served our ancestors well when running from wild animals, it's far less helpful when you're lying in bed trying to drift into a peaceful sleep. Cortisol blocks melatonin, the hormone your brain produces to signal sleep. It also activates your sympathetic nervous system, your body's internal alarm system. So even if you're exhausted, even if you want to sleep, your body doesn't feel safe enough to do so. It's bracing, anticipating, alert. This is why so many people experience what we call tired but wired. The body is exhausted. The mind is spinning, and that disconnection between the two creates a feedback loop. One where poor sleep increases your stress levels the next day, and those stress levels make it harder to sleep the next night. Now here's the part we often overlook. Most stress doesn't come from what's happening around us. It comes from how we process what's happening within us. You could be lying in a quiet room with no immediate danger, but your mind is still reliving that argument from earlier, replaying the email you didn't send, or rehearsing tomorrow's anxieties. In those moments, your body doesn't distinguish between real danger and perceived stress. It reacts to both as if your survival is at stake. That's the power of the mind-body connection, and it's also your greatest opportunity for healing. Because if your thoughts can keep you awake, your thoughts can also help you sleep. This is where natural remedies become deeply meaningful, not just as supplements, but as rituals of release. Things like deep breathing, guided meditation, journaling, or even a simple gratitude practice aren't just wellness buzzwords. They are tools that signal your nervous system that it's time to shift gears from high alert to deep rest. And when you slow your breathing, inhale for 4, exhale for 6, you are manually activating your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode, that tells your body it's safe. When you write down your worries or speak them aloud to someone you trust, you reduce mental load. You move those spinning thoughts out of your head and into the open, where they no longer carry the same weight. And when you practice gratitude, naming 3 small things you're thankful for, you interrupt the brain's negativity bias. You literally shift the chemistry of your mind. Oxytocin and serotonin rise, cortisol lowers, and your body begins to remember what peace feels like again. I want you to think about this. How often do you give yourself permission to truly unwind? Not just collapse from exhaustion, but consciously shift into rest. If your daytime is filled with pressure, stimulation, and nonstop motion, your nighttime needs to be filled with softness, quiet, and intentional slowing down. The truth is, your body knows how to sleep. It's wired for it, but it needs your cooperation. It needs an environment and a mindset that supports it. That means letting go of the guilt around rest. It means releasing the false belief that stress equals success. It means acknowledging the emotional weight you're carrying and deciding not to bring it into bed with you every night. Because sleep isn't something you force, it's something you allow. And allowing sleep means letting go of control, of fear, of the stories that keep your nervous system on edge. And yes, it may take practice. Healing always does. But your nervous system is adaptive. Your mind is trainable, and your heart is waiting for that moment when your thoughts soften, your breath deepens, and your body finally gets the message. You are safe now. So as you move forward, don't just ask, how can I sleep better? Ask, what in me needs to feel safe enough to rest? Because when you begin to tend to your inner world with the same care you give your outer routine, something powerful happens. Sleep stops being a struggle and starts becoming a sanctuary. We've explored the idea that sleep is sacred, that stress is its biggest saboteur, and that the body listens to how we live even more than what we say. But now, let's talk about something tangible. Something most of us do without thinking 3 times a day, sometimes more, and that's eating. Food is one of the most powerful, immediate tools we have to influence our biology. It doesn't just fuel your muscles or satisfy hunger. It directly affects your brain chemistry, your hormones, your energy, and yes, your ability to fall and stay asleep. The connection between your plate and your pillow is stronger than most people realize. Let's start with a basic truth. Your body wants rhythm. It thrives on patterns, on predictability. The foods you eat during the day can either support your circadian rhythm or disrupt it. They can stabilize your blood sugar or send it on a roller coaster. They can calm your nervous system or agitate it long into the night. Every bite is a biochemical signal. And what you eat tells your body what kind of night to prepare for. There are specific nutrients your body uses to make sleep-regulating hormones. Take tryptophan, for example. This is an amino acid found in foods like oats, turkey, eggs, and bananas. It's a precursor to serotonin, which is then converted into melatonin, the very hormone that cues your brain it's time to rest. Without enough of these building blocks, your brain simply doesn't have the raw materials to produce the chemicals required for deep, uninterrupted sleep. Magnesium is another critical player. It's known as nature's tranquilizer for a reason. Magnesium helps relax muscles, quiet the nervous system, and regulate melatonin production. Yet so many people are deficient, largely due to poor soil quality and highly processed diets. Foods like spinach, pumpkin seeds, avocados, and dark chocolate offer gentle, natural ways to restore those levels. And then there's the blood sugar conversation. If you eat a heavy, sugary meal close to bedtime, your body spends the night working overtime, digesting, stabilizing, compensating. That internal workload keeps your system alert, fragmented, and restless. You may fall asleep, but your body won't rest. On the flip side, if you go to bed hungry or undernourished, you risk waking in the night due to a cortisol spike triggered by low blood sugar. It's all connected. So what's the solution? It starts with balance. A dinner that includes complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes or brown rice, paired with healthy fats and moderate protein, helps regulate your glucose levels through the night. These meals support a gradual release of energy and reduce the likelihood of metabolic stress during sleep. Add in some calming herbs like chamomile tea or a sprinkle of turmeric, and you begin to create a biochemical environment where rest is the natural response. But this conversation isn't just about nutrients. It's also about timing. Late night eating sends your circadian rhythm into confusion. The body associates food with wakefulness. When you eat close to midnight, you're essentially telling your metabolism, stay alert, we're still active. That message conflicts with your brain's natural preparation for rest. Ideally, you want to finish eating at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. Let digestion do its work before your body enters sleep mode. And here's something deeper to consider. The way you eat reflects how you value your body. If your meals are rushed, chaotic, disconnected, if you're eating mindlessly in front of a screen or stress eating in emotional autopilot, your body registers not just the food, but the experience. The nervous system is always listening. And when meals are nourishing in both content and context, the body softens. It feels safe, it digests better, it sleeps better. There's a reason cultures throughout history have paired food with ritual. When we prepare our meals with presence, eat with gratitude, and align our choices with intention, the body responds with equilibrium. And equilibrium is exactly what the sleep cycle craves. So the next time you find yourself tossing and turning at night, don't just ask what's wrong with your sleep. Ask what happened during your day. What did you feed yourselves? Did your dinner tell your body the day is slowing down now? Or did it send mixed signals of stimulation and stress? Nutrition is not a quick fix. It's a long conversation between you and your body. But when you begin to listen, truly listen to how certain foods affect your energy, your focus, your sleep, you'll begin to eat not just to survive, but to thrive. And that's the goal here. Not to chase rest through restriction or rigid rules, but to live in a way that makes rest inevitable, natural, welcomed. Because the right food, eaten in the right rhythm, doesn't just help you sleep. It teaches your body that peace is possible, one meal at a time. If you've followed the journey so far, you've started to understand that sleep isn't just about the absence of activity, it's about the presence of calm, safety, rhythm, and nourishment. You've seen how food becomes a signal, how stress shapes the night, and how sleep is truly sacred biology. But even when we do everything right, eat well, manage stress, stay consistent, there are still nights when sleep feels just out of reach. And that's where nature, in its quiet brilliance, can offer some of the most profound support. We have used herbs for thousands of years, long before labs and prescriptions, because nature speaks the same language as our bodies. Plants evolved alongside us. They carry chemistry that gently nudges our biology back into balance, especially when it comes to sleep. And unlike many pharmaceutical sleep aids that knock you out artificially, natural remedies aim to restore, not override, the body's rhythms. Let's start with valerian root. Often called nature's value, valerian has been used for centuries to soothe the nervous system. It doesn't sedate in the way most people expect. Instead, it promotes the release of GABA, the brain's primary calming neurotransmitter. When GABA levels rise, the brain stops firing in stress mode. Muscles relax. Thoughts slow. You're not forced into unconsciousness, you're invited into rest. Then there's chamomile. Simple, familiar, and deeply effective. Most people recognize it as a tea, but few understand just how sophisticated its effects are. Chamomile binds to the same receptors in the brain as anti-anxiety medications. It's subtle, but steady. It tells your body, it's okay now. You can let go. That's not just biology, it's comfort encoded in petals and steam. Lavender works similarly, but with even more sensory impact. The smell of lavender doesn't just relax you emotionally, it shifts your brain waves. Studies using EEGs have shown that lavender aroma increases alpha wave activity, which is associated with states of calm and meditation. This means that simply inhaling lavender oil before bed or placing a few drops on your pillow can condition your nervous system to enter a pre-sleep state. Passion flower is another incredible gift from the plant world. It's been used traditionally in South America for insomnia, anxiety, and nervous exhaustion. Like valerian, it enhances GABA, but with a slightly different mechanism. It's particularly helpful for those who struggle with racing thoughts or wake frequently throughout the night. If sleep for you is a battle against the mind's chatter, passion flower may be the plant that speaks your language. And then there's ashwagandha, an adaptogen, which means it helps your body adapt to stress. Ashwagandha doesn't just knock you out, it works upstream. It lowers cortisol, it reduces inflammation. It helps reset your body's stress response so that when it's time for rest, your system doesn't resist. This is a slower medicine. It works over time. But its impact can be deep and lasting, especially if stress is the root cause of your sleep struggles. Now, a few things to keep in mind. Natural does not mean weak. These herbs have real pharmacological activity. Just because they grow in the ground doesn't mean they're free from interaction or misuse. Always consult a healthcare provider, especially if you're taking medications or have existing conditions. The goal is synergy, not substitution. These remedies are tools, not cures. They work best when paired with the foundational changes we've already talked about: rhythm, nutrition, stress care. The beauty of herbal sleep aids is that they offer you something our modern lives often don't: gentleness. They don't rush you, they don't override your instincts. They help your body remember what it already knows: how to slow down, how to feel safe, how to rest without fear. And beyond their chemistry, there's something psychological and even philosophical about working with plants. It reconnects you to the earth. It brings you back to the idea that your healing is not separate from nature, it is nature. That sleep doesn't come from conquering your biology, but from cooperating with it. When you sip a cup of valerian tea or inhale lavender before bed, you're not just treating a symptom, you're participating in a deeper, older wisdom, one that says healing doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. We're so used to quick fixes, fast results, pills that promise sleep in 30 minutes or less. But real lasting rest isn't something you can download or demand. It's something you cultivate slowly, intentionally, with practices that speak not just to your symptoms, but to your soul. So if sleep has become a stranger to you, maybe the invitation back isn't in force, but in faith. Faith in your body's ability to heal, faith in nature's capacity to help, faith in the idea that slowing down is not weakness, it's wisdom. If you've been following this journey, you already understand that your biology wants to sleep. It craves sleep. But the way we live today often makes that impossible. Between mental overstimulation, environmental chaos, and nutritional confusion, the body begins to forget what rest feels like. And that forgetfulness doesn't happen overnight. It happens through the erosion of something deeply human: routine. Your brain, for all its brilliance, loves predictability. It thrives on rhythm. This is why we have circadian clocks, internal biological timekeepers that regulate everything from hormone release to body temperature to mental alertness. But what many people don't realize is that your brain doesn't simply rely on this clock passively. It takes its cues from your actions. It watches how you spend your day, how you wind down your evening, how you prepare for rest. And based on that data, it either opens the doorway to sleep or keeps it firmly shut. This is where rituals come in, not routines in the rigid mechanical sense, but rituals in the conscious, intentional sense. A ritual is different from a habit. It carries meaning. It speaks to the nervous system in a language of safety. And in a world that often feels chaotic and fast-moving, sleep rituals become sacred acts of recalibration. They tell your body, the work is done, you are safe now. It's time to let go. Think about the last hour of your day. What message are you sending your body? Most people go from bright screens and loud conversations straight into bed, hoping that exhaustion will carry them into sleep. But what they're doing physiologically is confusing the brain. Light from screens tells your pineal gland to delay melatonin. Excitement from media or social scrolling spikes dopamine. Even seemingly harmless things like checking emails can reignite the stress response, just when your body needs to shut it down. So the goal isn't just to sleep, it's to transition into sleep with clarity and care. Start with light. Your circadian rhythm is highly sensitive to light exposure. Dim your lights an hour before bed. Use warmer tones, candles, or soft lamps. This is not cosmetic, it's chemical. Lower light triggers melatonin, higher light delays it. It's as simple and as powerful as that. Then move to sound. Turn off the stimulation. If you need background noise, choose something consistent and calming. White noise, soft instrumental music, or nature sounds. Let the nervous system disengage from abrupt input. Remember, your body is trying to shift gears. You're not just flipping a switch from stress to rest, you're gliding into another state of consciousness. Make that glide feel safe. Now introduce rituals that signal comfort. A warm bath, herbal tea, journaling, reading something calming. Not the news, not an email, not something with adrenaline, but something gentle and grounding. All of this sends a signal to your subconscious. You're not in danger anymore. You don't have to stay alert. It's okay to drift. And here's something subtle but powerful. Consistency matters more than perfection. You don't need a perfect evening to sleep well. You need a predictable one. You need your body to know that when certain events unfold, when the lights dim, when the tea is made, when the music plays, rest is near. Over time, this creates conditioned relaxation. It becomes automatic. That's how routine transforms into ritual, and ritual becomes healing. But I want to take this one step deeper, because ritual isn't just about what you do, it's about why you do it. When you brush your teeth at night, that's hygiene. When you light a candle while doing it, that's intention. When you journal your thoughts, that's unloading. When you do it with gratitude, that's emotional detox. The body responds not just to action, but to presence. If your rituals are done robotically, the body stays tense. But if they're done with awareness, your biology begins to soften. And sleep, at its essence, is the ultimate softening. You have to soften your jaw, your breath, your gut, your heart rate. That only happens when your body feels safe, when it knows the day is done, when the mind surrenders its grip. And that's really what a ritual does. It teaches your body to surrender. So if sleep has felt out of reach for you, don't just ask what's wrong with your night. Ask what's missing from your evening. What if your body isn't broken, it's just confused? What if your nervous system doesn't need force, it needs familiarity? Because healing doesn't come from intensity, it comes from repetition, from rhythm, from doing small things with great intention over and over again until your body no longer fears the quiet. By now we've explored the internal world of sleep, your biology, your stress response, your nutrition, your rituals, and the ways nature helps guide you into rest. But there's one last piece we need to talk about, one that most people overlook even though it might be right in front of them, and that's the environment you sleep in. The physical space that surrounds your body while it attempts to heal. Because here's the truth. Your bedroom isn't just a room, it's a message. And your body is always listening. Every light, sound, texture, and temperature cue is a signal. These signals either tell your nervous system it's time to relax, or they tell it stay alert. And when the environment sends the wrong signals, even subtly, your brain doesn't fully cross the threshold into deep, uninterrupted rest. You may fall asleep, you may even stay asleep, but you won't get the kind of sleep that heals, restores, and resets you. Let's start with light. Light is not just about vision, it's about rhythm. Your brain is hardwired to follow the rising and setting of the sun. That natural light cycle tells your body when to be alert and when to produce melatonin, the hormone that prepares you for sleep. But modern environments don't follow nature, they follow screens, lamps, TVs, and backlit devices. That blue light from your phone, it tells your brain that it's high noon. It suppresses melatonin. It delays sleep onset. And even worse, it fragments your ability to reach the deepest, most restorative stages of sleep. There's one simple thing I could get people to change tonight. It's this. Remove screens from the bedroom, or at least shut them off an hour before sleep. Let your environment begin to dim with the evening. Warm-toned lights, soft shadows, no overhead fluorescence. This isn't just aesthetics, it's biology. Your body is waiting for a cue, give it the right one. Then there's temperature. Your body naturally cools down in the evening. It's part of your circadian preparation for sleep. When the room is too warm, especially above 70-72 DGF, 21-22 DGC, your core temperature struggles to drop, and you end up tossing, turning, or waking up multiple times without even realizing it. A cooler room, ideally around 65 DGF, DGXC, supports that drop in body temperature and tells your system We're winding down. Now let's talk about noise. Most of us think we've gotten used to noise. Traffic, street lights, TV in the next room. But your brain doesn't get used to noise. It adapts by staying more alert. Even in sleep, it's on standby. Sudden changes in noise can pull you out of REM without fully waking you. But the damage is cumulative. You wake feeling tired, mentally foggy, unrefreshed. A quiet room isn't a luxury, it's medicine. If your environment is noisy, use white noise or soft ambient sounds to mask unpredictable disturbances. Or try earplugs. Give your auditory system a break from stimulation. Remember, sleep is about surrender. But you can't surrender if your senses stay on high alert. Then there's clutter. This may sound psychological more than physical, but it's both. A cluttered room communicates tension. It tells your mind that there are things left unfinished, decisions unmade, energy unresolved. Even when you're not consciously aware of it, your nervous system feels it. The brain scans the room quickly, quietly, and processes the chaos. That translates to mental noise. And mental noise steals sleep. Your sleep space should feel like a sanctuary, not a storage unit. Minimal, calming, clean. Let your senses enter that space and breathe. Cool sheets, dim lighting, a scent that soothes. Lavender, cedar, chamomile. Let everything about your room say, you are safe here, you can let go now. Now, the truth is, the body takes its cues not just from chemistry, but from context. You can eat well, manage stress, and practice every breathing technique under the sun, but if your environment screams daytime, your biology won't trust the process of night. And this isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. The more your physical space aligns with your internal intention to rest, the more your body listens. The more your body listens, the easier sleep becomes. And when sleep becomes easy, healing becomes inevitable. So I want to leave you with this thought. What if your room isn't just where you sleep, but where you teach your body how to rest, how to trust, how to recover? It's not about expensive mattresses or luxury bedding. It's about creating a space that feels safe, that feels quiet, that feels like it was made for you to pause, reflect, and recharge. Because deep down, your body already knows how to sleep. You just need to give it permission and the environment that allows it to.